Good evening, folks, and welcome to another game of the NHL Stanley Cup Playoffs on EA Sports. I'm Zo True, and I'm BPhone 11. It's great enough to see you all folks here for another part of the game, as we've got a great matchups for the rematch since Season 1. Therefore, the Montreal Canadiens are home, and they're facing against the Tampa Bay Lightning for Game 2 of Round Number 1. Since we've seen it before about this comeback, wild one successful, happens to be for the game number 1, it goes to Tampa Bay Lightning to show they really are starting to get a lot of fierce mints to put things on for the attackers. And now, therefore, they're trying to look for another win as possible. Can they succeed it over Montreal? Or will Montreal seal the victory and will go back to Tampa one last time against the Lightning? This is one of the confident scores and one of the big matchups, as we've seen things before, right in from the edge. Starting goaltender is Jacob Dobes, and the other side for the Lightning is Andrei Vasilevskiy. My next broadcasting partners I have is Boomer along with the others, and therefore we've got some great ones actions on the track. And we've got Son of Feast on the other side of it, and then the third commentary of the crew, give a special guest, is Poppy. And for the center ice, I give a warm welcome is Terry Crews that will be joining us here for tonight's game. This is going to be one exciting show to see things of NHL 26. Let's send you down to Century Bell as we start the Game 2 between Montreal and Tampa Bay. See you folks later for the first and second intermission, and if necessary, we'll have an overtime show and the post-game show. Now enjoy the game. Hobbs Bolts next on EA Sports. Tonight's tonight, the evening show between the Hobbs and Bolts as we are ready for the puck drop. Hey everybody, I am Boomer and I'm here with Son of Beast and the third commentary of the crew with a special guest, Poppy. And this is NHL Stanley Cup Playoffs on EA Sports. Tonight's starting goaltenders is between Andrei Vasilevskiy and Jacob Dobes on the other side from Montreal. The first winning goes to Montreal, but now here's another winning face-off, and that will be the Lightning, as Nikita Kucherov will start making some own change-offs. Here's another big change-off as Dobes is looking for trouble, and Kucherov with a rebound, backhander, save made by Dobes. Rebound by Sikorsky as Montreal will get down the attack, and they're on the other way. Here's Suzuki. Suzuki on the start-off, and a save made by Andrei Vasilevskiy. Big knockdown here in the Bolts territory. And here's Cole Caulfield, who now finds Noah Dobes. Dobson on a shot, save made by Andrei Vasilevskiy. Jake Gitzel will pitch it around the net, and a save off to Nikita Kucherov. The startup happens to be with only the Lightning, and they really are starting to get a lot of some necessaries to have that work. The only thing that they don't really find it off as clearly, they just got to keep passing. This is the first thing that they got to do things off first. What happens for the Lightning? They also get a lot of aggressiveness to show things off. Dobes will start it up for the first save of it, and he will have that one covered up. This will be another one for Montreal and the Canadiens, and the Lightning for another play tip-off ready. Now here's the win, and a shot. This will be the first penalty. It's going to be on Montreal, as Demidov hits the tripping, and he's in the penalty box. Look, here's a bad start off here for Demidov, and there's one thing that you got to watch things up. You had that one slicking it up, and then this one is a crash zone in sight. Ivan Demidov, he's in the penalty box. This will get the first power play to start off for Tampa. Tampa Bay will start their first power play as Montreal with the first penalty kill. Look, the power play needs to be that simple here. The Lightning has got to start things off. What happens with the last one of a part of the game, you don't get a good start off against Montreal in the first game. But when that happens, every first part of the goal counts. They've got to start fighting through numbers. Here's Victor Hedman. He now finds over to Yanni Gourde. Yanni Gourde pass over to Anthony Cirelli. He looks over to Barry. Corey Barry will start things up the board, and the shot saved by Gomez. Goalie right there in front of the lane. This one will clear out by Jake Evans, and now here's Chad Anderson. Anderson fires one, and a save made by Vasilevsky on a chance for the short-handed goal. This will set it up to clear things zone for Gould, and this will clear out for Montreal. Victor Hedman tried to seal the victim to find the Corey Perry, and he'll give it over again. Now find it off to Cirelli. Here's Perry. Perry right in the zone. Glove save by Gomez. Under 17 minutes in the first period. They'll start things off for Montreal to get a good start. Pretty much attackers afterwards as Michael Matheson trying to look for Trulensa's hit. And as for Victor Hedman, he looks once to see the CEI with his first goal against Montreal. Matheson knocked into the corner of the wall, rebounded by the Lightning. Here's Radius and a shot, saved by Gomez. Noah Dobson clears that one up. And under 50 seconds for the Lightning power play, he'll pass it over to Radius. Radius trying to look for some answers here right around the net. This one will rebound by Dobson as he fouled along the boards. Kucherov with the rebound. Tries to take a dagger shot and a save by Gomez. Well, this is a hard battle off and playing for Nikita Kucherov. They're really just starting to look for that first part of the goal. That doesn't really explain it, but this is the part of the first goal he wants to connect. And speaking of which one here, Jake Guentzel from the Penguins, he now wants to come in for this next postseason. And he's trying to look off for this first goal in Montreal. Pass off is dished away. Point. Given over. Dobas with the cover with only 20 seconds for the Lightning power play. 16-13 remaining in the first period. They're looking for a first shot in the net. Arbor-Jackay. He's got one of his Ely edges and also Trulensa's shoulder checks. He's looking for his first hit against the Lightning. Arbor-Jackay will clear it out. And all the way down to Montreal to the Tampa Bay area. Davidoff's time's almost about to be expired. Here's Jackay. And back to Radius. And the power play is over for the Montreal as they got a man extra back to full strength. Guentzel, what a stop by Dobas! He could not get a stop off to get a first goal for Guentzel, but that's Dobas with a great save. Yeah, look how Jacob Dobas is really doing it for. This is one attacker, and what a stopping save. He's really crazy up for tonight. You cannot really say about Dobas. That is the craziest save I've ever seen. That one happens to be Montreal, and they're really starting to get that one with a payoff. That's Anthony Cirelli trying to look for some quick picks on the interceptions. He'll try to look for his first face-off win. This one will carry it over, and as for Davidoff, he will win it off. Here's Kapanen. A give again to Kirby Dodge. Kirby Dodge will start it off. Right toward the middle on the shot range, and a blanker, and a save by Vasilevsky. 15-10 remaining in the first period. Vasilevsky trying to hold things up with a save. Still a lot of time left in the period. No scores in the books between Montreal and Tampa. Cirelli will win a draw. Victor Hedman without finding to Brandon Hagel. Hagel with the rushing speed with the shot and a big save made by Gomez. Around the net. Here's Matheson. Matheson now finds exactly Bolduc. Bolduc will send it over to Kapanen. Kapanen gives the pass over to Kirby Dodge. Kirby Dodge trying to look for his answers in there, and a glove saved by Vasilevsky. Vasilevsky is going to hang things for a whistle with only 14:21 in the first period. And here's an arrow quick draw on the faceoff. What do you see afterwards in the power play advantage on a good start of it, Son and Peace? We've got a lot of great actions for the Lightning, but for Montreal, they're starting to get away with that. Yeah, I mean, I definitely might have to say that they're really giving a lot of power plays in the net for Montreal. They try to do it all for the killing off the penalty kill. But as Dobas, he really makes a great save of it, and he has a lot of energy. I really wanted to see if Lane Hudson could try to sing things off and try to have that one with the first part of the net. But as for Kucherov, he really wanted to get that one with the zipping and a dagger to have that one stricken by the goaltender. There's no way you can defend it off, but that's really another big chance on the goal to try to keep things up from going. I don't know how this is going to take, but as for Dobes, he's really giving it all what he can. A lot of big attackers coming in down for Dobes and for the Lightning. Still no score of the game as they win the draw. Here's Dobes now finds to Alexander Texier. The give over to Alex Nugel. Alex Nugel gonna rush. Goes in and blocker save made by Vasilevsky. Montreal under full pressure. Evan will clear things over to Gage Gonzalez. Tampa back in offense. Hagel shot. Another easy save made by Dobes. Cernak with a deep shot. Pirelli shoots. Save by Dobes. Then Calvez backhander save by Dobes. What a save, and you really have no idea how this is going to happen. That one big tipper is going to get Dobes with a crazy pickoff. Now, I don't really mean that Dobes is really having a great save, but one thing is going to make that connection is a great heavy blanker attack. And Samuel Montembeault, he's watching on Dobes really right away. He's got a great rookie start off with the goaltenders. That's really what the change-up would be for Dobes on tonight. I'll turn my attention over to Terry Crews, and this one will start off with Braden Point for Nikita Kucherov. Thanks, guys. About Nikita Kucherov. Wow! I've seen that before. Darren Raddysh has got a first goal. Well, you got to say about that. I mean, I've got a good hold up here. What a great shot of a net. Check out the drive happening to Darren Raddysh, and after the face-off win, here's that zapper. This is going to be a Raddysh moment with a big shot. That one was a big drive, and he just really scored it right away. This is the first goal. You'd have no idea how that is happening. Darren Raddysh, he was slipping it. He daggers it, he weights his foot, and he just slips it. That is a crazy shot of a net. Well, I gotta say it on it before. Darren Raddysh has got the first part of the goal, and they're really starting to look for his first game to get that winning over by Montreal. There is no blink on the shot that they really are trying to do for it. That's a lot of big heavy motion that they're really trying to do for it. But as I said here before, the other way for Nikita Kucherov, the startup happens to be with only the quick draw and a face-off. And only one thing happens to be with the quick dagger and the big rushing wheels. This is a big startup to have a tape on the blanket, and with some big knockdowns, they really are trying to give some another offensive ability to try to keep things onto a roll. I know it's not that simple, but the one changes off for Nikita is big blankers. They want to shush the crowd here and have a lot of big release bits to have it showing off. No way they can do for. They really are starting to do a lot of this on attackers. Let's hope that there is a best. And as for Lane Hudson, he's starting out with a sending pass. He's trying to look for his first goal against the Lightning in game number 2. We really are certain enough that they're really going to start off big. Nothing is really going to be simple enough for tonight in the game, but they really are sure enough to keep it all from going for Nikita and a better on their startup to get things on. I'm hoping for Lane Hudson and see when his first goal that goes with the dagger with the sending and the first goal to have that assist. Let's see how they respond. Back to you. All right, thank you, Terry. Now back over to Cernak as we are down to a 10:30, and this will be an offside for Tampa Bay.
In the first period of the playoffs, 7 minutes, 19 seconds.
And there's a lot of big attackers going on, and there's nothing much to be seen things here between Tampa and Montreal. They're trying to look for the first goal. Deflected it in. What a save by Vasilevsky, and Cernak trying to get back to Cirelli. They really are starting to get things over, and I know it's not a start off when they're really doing this for. I don't know how that one is going to change it, but the Lightning are really starting to push it off. Michael Matheson the other way. And here's Noah Dobson. Dobson blocks the shot. Dobson shoots. Save by Vasilevsky. The rebound by the Lightning. Took a knockdown with the hit and is capping him with the rebound. Ely edges. Hagel trying to watch on that. Glove save by Vasilevsky. 9:21 to go in the first period. And as we're already down under the midway mark in the first period, they're starting to look for a lot of big blankers on the range for Montreal, but assumingly, nothing is going to give another with a good shot of a net. Here's Goncalves. The other way for the Lightning. Big blocker saved by Dobes. This one kicks it over, and now Hedman. Hedman no find again to Cirelli. Cirelli with a blank over to Hedman. Edmund finds over to Cirelli. Cirelli shoots one, and another save by Dobes. Here you go, now finding Cernak. He shoots one deep. Blocks the shot. Rebounded again by the Lightning. Edmund fires. He's grazed the goalpost. And back to Cernak the other way for the Lightning. Oh my goodness, that was a big close call afterwards. Montreal is starting to look for some heavy shock and awe moments. They cannot get away. Bill Caulfield the other way. For Montreal, saved by Vasilevsky. 7:48 to go in the first period. Vasilevsky trying to hold things with a showstopper, but another huge save in the game. 9/8 face-off wins for Montreal. They're starting to look for some heavy attackers. There is no blank shot to get that one a good effort. Here's another win. Goalie shoots. Hit off his defender. Moser. Texier with the send over back to Demidov. Swinging and misses, and as Darren Radish now fires again to Moser. Here's Gordy. Yanni Gordy sends a deep pass over to Holmberg. Holmberg will start a change off, and back to J.J. Moser. Moser shot, locked up by Hudson. Hudson will get a rebound here from Montreal, and back to Alex Smugo. He goes down, no penalty on Tampa Bay. Here's Texier. Texier fires it, and a save made by Vasilevsky. Texier. No connection to give off the pass, and this will stop by Vasilevsky. Only 6:34 to go in the first period. A lot of big change up in the attacker. Since season 1, we've seen that Montreal is getting with the first part of the goals, and there's a lot of big change up that they're really starting to do for. And now for this season, they've really had it all with the post blanket on a range shot. There's no better change up that they really do for. I know it's not the start off on Tampa Bay. They're really starting to get a lot of first goals in there for since season 1. But as for now, for Texier and their teams, they really are starting to get a lot of energy from the crowd of it. They really wanted to start getting a lot of knockoffs into play. There's no change up that you can definitely do for it. If you're a Montreal fan, you really have to show a lot of support of it and then try to beat off by Vasilevsky's team of the Lightning. I wouldn't have any discussions on that if Montreal were able to score that first goal in the game. Braden Point wins the draw, and it's now J.J. Moser. Given away by Suzuki, and a save by Vasilevsky. Stumped again. And only 5:23 in the first period. They're starting to get that first goal in there. I mean, I don't know what's going on. They really are starting to give Nick Suzuki a credit. And that first goal to get that one tied up. 5:23 to go in the first period. Tampa trying to look for answers on J.J. Moser. Given away by Sikorsky. And zone stop by Vasilevsky. 5:12 remaining in the first period. As we're nearing the final 5 minutes in the first period. 132 over 107. The time on attack is a big rush and a little headache. But they're starting to look for that first goals. Right in the range for Canadiens. Struble, he goes down. Holmberg with the big knockdown, and back to Bergersons. Tampa back in the offensive zone. Another save by Dobes. Canadiens back in the offensive now. It's Juraj Slafkovsky. Nice feed. End zone coming. Save by Vasilevsky. Eric Cernak along the wall. And we'll skate that one zone out of here. The rebound picked by Slafkovsky. Goes with a big hit, and this is going to be a first penalty kill on Tampa Bay. Yeah, look, you can see the hit there. That's Holmberg. He makes that one with a knockdown, and he's going for help. But watch what this goes. That goes bang right to her on the wall. That's cross-checking. That is a good penalty kill. So Pontus Holmberg enters in the penalty box. We'll give a first start off for Montreal on the power play, as they're starting to look for their first power play goal in Game 2. Well, Montreal really need to do everything. They have to start off with a big blanker. They got to keep it going, and they cannot lose it all, because if they don't do it, this is going to definitely be a headache to get that first goal and look for Montreal. Big knockdown here. Here's Kapanen, shoots, blocker on the save made by Vasilevsky. Just under 4 minutes remaining. Start off with Montreal with 148 remaining. I mean, I don't know what you can see about the speed. This is where he goes right in for the nuts, and he just sticks still. It's about 15% of the miles per hour, and this is a big speed off that you really are starting to look for. This is a big appearance, and this doesn't really start to get that one another zone. That big send-off is going to do it all from here. Just 1:46 remaining for a Montreal power play, and only 3:52 remaining in the first period. They're looking for that first goal to get that tied up. The win by Cirelli. This one gets to McDonough, and now it's Hagel against Cernak. He'll clear that up. Shots it with the cannon around the wall as Dobson will now give it to Nuka. Montreal back in offense. McDonough gives it away. Anthony Cirelli will lead things here, and this will be Dobson. Now back over again is Alex Nuka. Trying to look for his first goal. He looks to Kapanen. Kapanen to Bulldog, and a shot. That one is deflected off the skate of the stick. And no contest is zone the other way. Nuka to Bulldog. Bulldog should save by Vasilevsky. Rebound by McDonough. Took a nasty hit. And back to Montreal. They really could not get a lot of connection in there. They could just keep on fighting and get knocked down. Bulldog now find Matheson. Matheson fires and save by Vasilevsky. Bulldog. Get back to Cernak with only 40 seconds remaining for a Montreal power play and clears that zone out. Canadiens back in the offensive zone. Hobbs trying to look for answers for more room. Here's Bulldog. This one will skate out of the way by the Sioux. And Kapanen outside the zone. Given by Matheson. Nuka in zone carry. He could not get a deflection in. This one stops by Vasilevsky with only 15 seconds remaining for the Montreal power play. Cole Caulfield is trying to look for his first goal of the game, and he's trying to see how he can answer it off on his power play. But Calvis wins the draw. Holmberg's time's almost about to be up. Hudson. Deep the zone to Demidov. And the power play is over for Montreal. They're both 1-0-1 for Montreal team and the Tampa Bay team. And no power play goals are given. Well, I don't know how we really did that. I mean, I know that first period was a little bit just kind of hard and really doing it for. But think of it this way, when you're playing as Tampa Bay, you really just try to do all of it. And if you're Vasilevsky, you have a lot of big saves and you have a lot of enemies coming in right after you. That's one of the better goals for the showstopper. They're really starting to do everything. Not as far as Holmberg, he has to be really careful if there's another cross-checking or tripping. Slavkovsky decks it out. And back to Radius the other way with only 1:20 remaining in the first period. Jorgensen to dish over to Bonus Holmberg. Holmberg finding Gord. Gord shoots and he scores! Yanni Gord, as it's now a 2-0 lead for Tampa. Man, after that first goal, then this is where it's going to take over for the worst. After the power play, watch what Yanni Gord makes. There's a good defender, and there's a block over here. Watch this play action that goes with Yanni Gord. That is a shooting percentage that one gives right back by Dobes, and that one just extremely missed. This was a little slightly late, and there's no way that you can definitely get it back. Yanni Gord, what a great ricochet right off of the pad. So the second period, we'll have to see if Montreal scores in that. 2-0 is Tampa Bay. Yeah, they really are doing that. I mean, I know they are. They just could not get it off to a big start. Final minute of this period, as we got the first intermission coming up. Zoe Troop and Beef on 11 will be starting things off for the first intermission after this game. Jake Gitzel with the rebound, 30 seconds remaining in the first period, and goes way too deep. It'll be offside on Tampa Bay. Nearing down the end of the first period. Tampa Bay on a cruise control, 2-0 over Montreal. The win by Tampa Bay. Radius looks over to Kucherov. Here's Kucherov. Behind the net. In front, stopped by Dobes. What a lucky bounce. And goes back to Alex Nuka. And there is another delay penalty. That's going to be on Tampa Bay. And I don't believe this, but anything that happens, you have nowhere to get from here. And that one is a knockoff to give. Nikita Kucherov is in the penalty box for the cross-checking. And this will be another chance on the power play starting off for Montreal. They'll get started things off in the second period when we come back after the first period of the intermission. So therefore, that's what we need Nikita Kucherov. He will start things off for in the penalty box. And as for Montreal, they'll get started on the power play when we return in Montreal. So therefore, Montreal will start the power play in the second period. And that will not count as this one ends it off. So therefore, 2-0, Tampa Bay. Big enemy attacker. Maybe a lot of risky business to take for Dobes, but we'll see what happens when we return. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with the second period. Hey everyone, it's Zoe Troop and me Phone 11 as we welcome to the first intermission of the NHL 26 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Start off as only happened to be with Tampa Bay Lightning, and they've been knocking things down to start off in the first period. As we take a look at these part of the statistics for the first period, I will send my attention over is me Phone 11. Thank you very Zoe Troop, and I mentioned it before that the start off only happens to be with Montreal. They're starting to get a lot of shots over by Vasilevsky. That one doesn't really get it off to a good pick, but only thing happens is that Tampa Bay is really trying to do all of it to take the knockdown and defender. Since season 1, they just couldn't get a win off to get a great goal in the game. And one thing happens is only Darren Radish and, of course, Yanni Gourde, who have gotten their first goals in the first period, they start off with a 2-0 lead, and they really are starting to get a lot of commencements to try to penalty out on the attacker. There's no way that you can definitely try to keep it all in no rush. But one thing's for sure is, Montreal, they've been a harder team to beat anybody, and that is one of the big rivals on the international game between the USA and Canada. And one thing is a great way to have some hugest opportunity for the face-off wins. That's for Tampa Bay, and only with the time on attack with 148. The power play goals wasn't able to remain between Tampa or Montreal, but we'll see what gets to a next power play for Montreal. Now let's have a look with the action trackers. Taking a look on the other side of it as Darren Radish with the first goal of the game. And Alex Newhook, they had 5 shots in the game. And it wasn't pretty close enough. And a lot of shots at attackers. And big goal skier on the other side of it for Tampa Bay. Let's go over your facts about Tampa Bay Lightning as I send it over to you. Me Phone 11, what does you say about this one? Well, the startup really gives it all. I mean, Montreal is really trying to get that knocking down. But as for Tampa Bay, they're really starting to get a lot of neck off on the hit. They really just don't really think they could definitely try to answer it all. But big races in the goal happens to Darren Radish, the deep ranging on a shot of a canyon, and he really took it at all. That's pretty much what everybody was looking at, because at this point, Darren Radish had a one-time well net. That is a great goal to get that start off. And how about you, Zone Troop, for Montreal? Man, they gotta start something right now, because this is the first goal that they're really going to start off with a power play. And I know it's not the start off what they really can do. But one I can say about this is for Montreal, they're starting to look out for the first power play of the goal. And probably they'll get it on the board, 2-1 game. Come on, man. We got to see what the first goal is. And what's your take here for your prediction for the scores for the end of a second period for you, So True? I'm going to say it's Montreal to tie the game from Tampa Bay. I want to say 2-2 because this is what I wanted to see what that first goal can make. And how about you, me Phone 11? Close one to call. I'm going to say it's going to be closest. 3-2. I'm at Montreal might take it over. There you go. That's what I wanted to see. Montreal give it all. Yeah. I know what you're saying is so true. I mean, I know you're a part of a Montreal fan, but this is definitely what the game might be. Standing by for the third commentary to crew, I give a warm welcome is Poppy as we start the second period. We'll see y'all folks later for the second intermission after the second period. Now back to Montreal. Boomer, Beast, all yours. Welcome back, folks, as we're ready to get started for the second period as Montreal's on the power play. We start now. And joining my third broadcasting partner for a very special guest is Poppy. Let's see what your statistics are from the first period, Poppy. Let's welcome you to the game.
Thank you guys so much. It's been amazing here, and I've been loving to see how Montreal has been playing it for. The start-off is really turning to be how it's greatness. It's the worthiness, and I really do understand it that this is the craziest part of the game. I love seeing things. It's really the start off of the first period. The start off happens with that. The only thing I'm really mentioning it before is a big hit. One of the big attackers that happens to Anthony Cirelli. And there's a lot of greatness to have that smacking inversion, and there was a lot of big little bangers from the attack. There's so much to give that one an uncomfortable start. I'm really wanting to see how they can definitely do with their answers from Montreal if they can get on a power play advantage. This skill happens to be with only Tampa. They start off with a 2-0 lead. Let's hope that the Montreal has an answer.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Poppy. I know that's definitely what it started off with. But the only thing happens with now, when they start with Montreal Canadiens, they just really need to start on a power play as the Peter drops in the box. Let's see how they respond.
This is good.
Here's Zachary Bolden, motherfucker to Alexander Newhook. He goes back to Bolden, shot saved by Vasilevsky. Going off in big, with only 112 remaining. in the
That's
second
so
period.
long. 18 minutes, 53 seconds.
A lot of big time and emotions on the hits. 17/12 as you see Anthony Cirelli knocking down one of the players from the Canadiens into the Lightning bench. That was a big hit.
Yeah, I know. I know it's really like not the better choice of it. I really might say Montreal's definitely having a hard rush on their own.
Stopping by Dobes with a shot of it for the short-handed goal. This one will hold in freeze to play with under 19 minutes to spare. It passes the first minute in the second period. Montreal will get it back, and the Canadiens will have a rush the other way. Here comes Kapanen. He's right into the zone, guiding Bulldog. Bulldog. Ryan passes to Kapanen on a shot. Save by Vasilevsky. Right back to Bulldog. Bulldog gets to Kapanen. Kapanen reaches it. He cannot get a forceman here. Bulldog shoots. Save by Vasilevsky. Alexander Newberg trying to get a rebound. Victor Hedman on him. And the rebound by Yanni Gourde. J.J. Moser now has it over to Yanni Gourde. Here's Bulldog. Shoots. Save by Vasilevsky. J.J. Moser around the back. He swings it out, and now it's Matheson with the rebound. Matheson fends it over to Dobson. Dobson makes a new hook. Big hit in the center ice. Moser trying to look over to Gourde. And coming out of the box is Nikita Kucherov as Montreal. No chance on a power play effort. Here's Dobson. A breakaway chance. Close save by Vasilevsky. 17:47 to go in the second period. They really are desperately looking for a goal.
Well, the only thing that happened with Gergensen, that is a one hit down in the center box. That really is going to definitely make a true line assist, and he really has it all. I know it's definitely what Gergensen really does. That's another hit smackdown for the Bolts. Lightning are definitely doing a lot harder. I know they are, but whenever it happens with that, I mean, the end of a power play only happens to be with Nikita Kucherov, and that really hurts. I want to see how they can definitely try to answer their response, because now Montreal, basically like they wanted to find a goal. Lots of time left to be played in this period. They're down by 2 for Montreal. They're trying to look for the face-off win and get a goal. Point wins a draw. He has been done. This one will send to Jake Gensel. Here comes Gensel, the pass to Kucherov. Kucherov lost a shot. Rebound stopped by Dobes. 17-16 remaining in the second period. They're really trying to look for their first goals for Montreal. As Jampari is watching it, he's trying to see what Nikita Kucherov has, but he has a lot of hateful disagreeing for some disrespecting the American teams. They're definitely are cheating, but some of them are considered as not cheating. Right in between the Canadiens or the Montreal and probably USA team. I mean, I'm not even sure if that will help, but that's a lot of working contact. Here's McDonough. Shoots saved by Dobes. Get a rebound by Lane Hudson, and he'll get it back to Jim McDonough. That was really close how it happens with Jacob Dobes, and he really is starting to get that pad out save. That's a great look. This connection is going to definitely have it all. Rebound by Montreal, blocking a shot, and a rebound by Alexander Newhook. Newhook, Teixeira battling along the boards, and a big grade will put it back to Braden Point. Tampa Bay back in the offense zone. Broken the connection here. Kucherov sends a point. Backhanders blocked by Lane Hudson. Cooley to pass over to Phil Deneau. Transfer from the Kings, looking for his first goal against the Lightning in Game 2. Nikita Kucherov on a rush. Pass back to Cernak. Cernak right through the middle! Stop by Dobes! And he covers it up with the puck with under 15 minutes in a second. Wow, it's probably really close. And I'm just noticing that one was a close contact. You know, I really got to say, this really is making it general to me. It really happens with only the Montreal Canadiens. They're really trying to get that another good shot on the net of the goal. Here's Sikorsky. A bad pass given it here, and this will be Montreal on the icing. They'll get another rebound here, and they'll get ready for another puck drop into Montreal territory. 91/83. That's because of Montreal, how well they're doing. They got a lot of passings down and a lot of miscues for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They've got to watch out with that. I know they do, but they don't have another strategy. They've got to start finding a way out. This is definitely what it needs to be. They've got to start doing things. Good pass stop by Vasilevsky. And that shows Tampa is really going to keep it all in the cutter. Montreal looking for a face-off win to get that rebound and try to look for open passes. So Rowley wins the draw.
J.J. Moser down over to again to Goncalves. Goncalves with a sprint. He's on the speed. Took him to relentless hit for Jacky. Nick Suzuki, the pass to Sikorsky. Here's a race in. He rings the goal post. Back to Kate Goncalves. And back to Darren Radius again to Sorelli.
Oh my goodness, I would have seen that first goal. This would have been an answer for Montreal.
The dish dog. And that one blocks a shot here off the skater for Trevin Hagel. Now Nick Suzuki will now have a new change. This one will clear the zone. Nick Suzuki, battle along the boards on Radius. Here's Jake Goodsell. Knocks him down. The rebound by Tampa Bay. Jake Goodsell. Pass to Horstjohn. Horstjohn. And that goes out of the way as Dick Dobson will have it again to Suzuki. Cole Caulfield the other way. Here come the Bolt. The Habs. They'll clear that zone. J.J. Moser trying to get a rebound. Stopped by Nick Suzuki. This one fell along the boards, and now it's Horstjohn to get a Holmberg. Lightning back in that Montreal territory. Holmberg finding the Horstjohn. Horstjohn shoots one, and a save by Gomez. This one will get a rebound. Now again, this is Sorelli behind the net. Given away by Ivan Damadov. Montreal back in the Tampa Bay area. New hook. Looking in. Glove save by Vasilevsky. Not enough to beat the goaltender, but that was a good chance for Alex Newhook to have that one slicking in the feed.
I mean, he's really kind of close. He could definitely almost get the first goal in the range. That wouldn't be just a good start of it, but as for now, Alex Newhook is really giving a lot of demonstrations. That's because of what Montreal's been doing. And Martin St. Louis, he has to give a lot of instructions for the Montreal team to get that one another time.
Back on ice is Kirby Dutch on a rushing attack. And that one got jipped out in front of it by Ryan McDonough. There's a rebound by Struble. Struble looks to Dutch. Dutch trying to look for an open pass, but that goes right back over to Paul. Paul broken by Kapanen. Montreal back in offensive zone. Canadiens trying to look for some numbers in. Kapanen on the backhander. Stop by Vasilevsky. Near the midway mark in the second period. 40 over 24 shots on goal. 2-0 Tampa Bay. And just have a look at the status afterwards for the year, Terry. What do you see afterwards with the big hits on this drive?
Well, I might have to say that this is really what they are all calling it for. And Martin St. Louis has really needed to do a lot of instructionals. This is a very big offensive drive. They really are starting to get so much credit, G. This effort is not going to play it off to a great start. But as you mentioned it before there, Boomer, this is a lot of working opportunity. They really are trying to get that first goal in the net. They just need Montreal to get that one back up in front of it. They cannot lose things here. Because this is definitely what Martin St. Louis is. We got to start getting back into the game here, folks. No change, nothing. We need to show how things optimally to have it flying over to beat out by the goaltenders from Tampa Bay. This is a hard team that you got to do for, guys. Let's see how they answer it off.
All right, thank you so much, Terry. I know what you're looking for. Let's see how they respond here. Portland's a draw, and it's to Stu. Give the pass to Jake Goodsell with 9 minutes remaining in the second period.
They really just wanted to beat there, and they want to win the face-off. They got to find answers.
Vecchio gets the goalie. The pass to Hudson. Here's Lane Hudson on a shot. Save up by Vasilevsky. And a rebound by Davidov. Newhook with the chance. Covered up by Vasilevsky with 8:25 remaining in the second period. They just couldn't keep back and forth with the shot on the net. And they really are trying to get that answers back up. Now they're ready for the puck drop between Montreal and Tampa Bay. Here's Hudson. Hudson to Davidov on the shot. Blocked up. Rebound by the Lightning. Pontus Holmberg with only 8:10 remaining in the second period. Holmberg right in front. Girgensons. Shots blocked. Rebound by Newhook. Rebound by Holmberg. Here's a chance of Girgensons. Glove saved by Gomez. Diving releases and the rebound by Holmberg. He really got a good snatch after it. That is a glowing knockdown. Ring the goalpost. Next year, trying to look to goalie. Goalie looks over to Newhook. Newhook went down. No penalty on Tampa Bay. Hudson shoots it. That gets off of the defender. Rebound by Texier. Behind the back, now finds Suzuki. Suzuki got caught up with the stick, and it's rebounded by Holmberg. Holmberg. Montreal rebounds it. And given away by the Tampa Bay Lightning as now Holmberg trying to make a move. Goes right in. Also Zakru. Holmberg broken by Davidov. Demidov looks to Suzuki. Suzuki moving it in front. Pad reached out easily by Vasilevsky with only 6:05 remaining in the second period. They're starting to look for some odd man rushes, but it doesn't turn out to be the right choice. Well, Cernak only happened to be doing this, and then with the slapper, this is the big shot of it that he's really trying to do before that hit happens. He really was wasting a lot of pressure in there, and what Cernak makes, this huge contact is definitely going to make that speed, and right into the zone, this hits off the goal post and out. That really goes right back over to the wall, and it really banged it out there quickly. 24/20 faceoff wins for Tampa Bay. Only 6:05 remaining in the second period. They're starting to look for some numbers for the Montreal Canadiens. Here's another win for Tampa Bay. J.J. Moser now fighting over to Radish. Radish looks over to Goncalves. Goncalves on the rush looking again at Hagel. Hagel shoots it, and they're saved by Dobes. Hagel given away by Noah Dobson, and here's Shersikowski with 5:30 remaining in the second period. And another bad pass. That's missed Hughes on Montreal. Goncalves in the shot. That one loses the puck in control. This clears out of the zone from Montreal. The Bolts are back into offense in the Montreal territory. Knocked down with the hit. Rebound by Matheson. Big races down right toward the boards. Tremendous battle right toward the range. He doesn't mean that he was really doing this for, but that's a quick release that they're really trying to give it off to a good start. They really didn't want to get that away. I know what you mean about Noah Dobson. That was right in toward the hustle. This one just really took a blank and a big hit. That one just scuffs it. I mean, you cannot say about Noah Dobson that really gives up with another blank on the shot. That really is going to definitely block it on her own. Now the win for Montreal. Jake Struble will have it over again. Now finding Zachary Bolduc. Zachary Bolduc again. Now Kirby Dodge will try to look over it again with Struble. Under 4:40 remaining in the second period. Here's Kapanen. Over Kapanen finding Struble. Struble shoots, glove save. Easy pick here for Vasilevsky. Only 4:13 remaining in the second period. They're starting to look for some other groups in offense. If you don't want to miss that one out with one of the big ones, we've got some amazing ones for you. The FTI Tour is coming back here for another biggest event of the night. And don't miss out with any locations that's coming right near you. We got a couple new locations. Atlanta, Georgia, London, UK, and finally from America is, of course, Las Vegas. Never miss out here and get your tickets before they run out. New York, I hope you had a lot of fun, but therefore, this was a big event that we ever had done. I know, we definitely did, and we had a lot of time. We had a great time here in New York, and that was definitely the finish of it, and hopefully, we'll see them back soon. Good blocker step made by Dobes. Rebound by the Lightning. Nikita Kucherov again to Radius. That blocks up. Brandon Gould. Evans needs to start finding some answers. Looks to Anderson. This gets blocked up by Jake Gitzel. Anderson in front. Oh, he missed it on the one-timer effort. Back to Braden Point. On the wheels he goes. 2:15 left in the second. Behind the back. Under Gitzel. Stop by Dobes. Kucherov right over it again. Big save made by Dobes. And no penalty on Tampa Bay. Man, Canadiens are really not into the right suit. But this is definitely how hard they're really trying to do for. I know it's not really easy, but I don't really say that this is really going to take a lot of big emotions. This is the potential attacking motion, and he really is starting to get that one paid off. I don't know if it's definitely one choice or another, but hey, just looking at it off of good motion is definitely what the right timing goes by. They gotta find this goal. I mean, in the first period, I think this is going to be a harder choice. And what do you think? Who do you think will have a win down to the final minute? I think the Lightning are definitely going to need to try to win that one off. I'm really hoping that this is a great team and they're really looking to get back in the second round. After a loss against the Panthers, I think this Florida Showdown is not going to be anymore. All right, well, thank you for having us here, Poppy, and hopefully we'll see you back again for our next couple of games or two. We really appreciate with you, and hopefully this will now have to take what happens with if Montreal scores it or not. Yeah, I hope you guys have it too. I mean, thank you very much, everyone. And as the approaching goes by, Kapanen shoots, and that kicks out Vasilevsky, and we end the second period. So therefore, 2-0 to score. No changes were made between Montreal or Tampa. We go to the second intermission, and we will come back with you for the third period. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right with you shortly. Hey everybody, it's So True and me for 11 as we're back for the second intermission of the NHL 26 Stanley Cup Playoffs. This is not the best choice. Everyone keeps smacking. Everyone keeps shooting. There's a lot of big goaltenders right in a race between Dobes and Vasilevsky. Now over to you, me for 11, as we have a second period statistics updated for you. Let's see what your thoughts are. Well, the startup only happens to go with Montreal. They really are giving enough time on attack with only 4:09 remaining. And then the other side of it only happened to be with Tampa Bay. They got 27 and 4-minute penalty kill. That was too much for them because they had too much cross-checking and they definitely could not get it succeeded. This is really how bad they're going to start off. Nothing is plain simple, but that really was a big knockoff. And as Montreal Canadiens on the other hand, they definitely got it out of the way. They didn't seem like they were going to follow it off, but that really is going to sting them. Nobody cares about it. I mean, this is nobody to give some unclear shot angles. I mean, this needs to be focused in a little more. This intentional really needs to be racing it out of luck. Unless if Montreal Canadiens could definitely have that scoring, I mean, that's no big deal. They really need to start getting back into the line and try to look for answers. This is big where they're going to take. All right, let's have it over to the action trackers right over toward the right, and we got a lot of big shots in the range, and no goal has been taken here for the second period. A lot of big connections here, doesn't really stand out to point. Only one goal happens to be with Darren Radish in the first period with a deep shot, and Josh Anderson only had one shot in the game. Now let's have your thoughts about Tampa Bay as they kept smacking down on Montreal Habs. Well, I know they are doing this. This is why the Lightning are really trying to put them show things down. They want to go back to the second round and then play again. So hopefully, I'm sure enough that we're going to see Buffalo Sabres and the Lightning here in the second round. So I bet that this is definitely where it gets busted, and lots of Lightning fans are really desperate because the storm is surging in Montreal and it just ended. But as for the Montreal Canadiens, they just couldn't keep coming back. I mean, we'll see how they answer it off on the other side of it shortly. And how about you for Montreal, Zotroop? Well, this is not what I'm really mentioning before. I want to see Montreal get that scoring drought. They've got to find answers. If they don't get enough there, they got to start calling for help from Martin St. Louis. This needs the head coach to try to fix it up. I want to see how they can definitely do for their shots in and get it tied up. What is your status for the third period? I want a tie. I really wanted a tie. I'm going to go with the third period and send to overtime. How about you, me-fun 11? Well, I might have to say, I think we've got to see Montreal going with the win. I don't think it's not going to be close, even though Poppy just really realized that the Tampa Bay Lightning might win it all. I'm going to say that this is going to be a 3-2 Montreal win and go back to Game 3 in Tampa Bay. They've got to see this big action afterwards. This is it. Do or die for Montreal. All right, thank you guys so much. Thank you, me-fun 11. And we end the second intermission, and we go back to Montreal. Boomer, peace, all yours. We'll see you folks later after the game. Welcome back. For those of you just tuning us in for the Montreal Habs and the Tampa Bay Lightning, we get ready for the third period. And this is it. Do or die for Montreal. And if they succeed, they will have a tie or take the lead. All right, Son of Beast, this is all for you. Let's see what your statistics happen to be with the second period recap. Big hits. I mean, no joke, man. I'm really going to say that this is a lot of courtesy. They're making this so much difficulty for the Montreal Canadiens, and therefore the Tampa Bay Lightning are really starting to get a lot of enforcement. They need to see this to get it back down in, because no shot of a net has to be the goal, and they're really starting to get that first goal into the range. They really had nowhere to go, but that really was a big knockdown that they were really doing. Oh, trying to put a rebound in there. Cole Caulfield trying to get it back out, and Jake Ditzel got out of the way. He was really close. He could definitely have that first goal in there if they really want to have a two-legged or knock it down. After a big hit, by Sikorsky, here's another rebound here, as this will be Noah Dobson. Off on Caulfield. This will be all again to Phil Denault. He got knocked down. Here goes Hagel. Hagel behind the back of the net. Getting away on Matheson. And the back of it again to Radius. Buck can't keep it clear. Montreal's got it back. Cole Caulfield stopped down on Brandon Hagel. Here's Cole Caulfield getting a knockdown. Here's Kevin and shoot save made by Vasilevsky. And now this will send it over to Goncalves. Goncalves knocks it over. This one will get a new line group change for Montreal and Tampa Bay. Ryan McDonough back to Anthony Cirelli. Slings it around the net and rebound by Gouley. Gouley now finds the Dutch. Dutch looks to Evans. Jake Evans the other way forward to the Montreal Canadiens. Shoots, glove save by Vasilevsky. 16-17 to go in the third period, and they're really trying to look for that shot in the net. Well, Michael Matheson, you really have to be much careful if you're really playing on defense. This one gets a knockdown on Braden Point. That is a big knockdown as they're really trying to do it all with defenders. A lot of big time motion here. Tampa Bay sitting in the 2-0 lead over Montreal with only 16-17 remaining. Now the win by the Lightning. And goes right back to Holmberg. Here comes Holmberg. In zone. Gives that one and chipped off, and it's back to Demidov. Demidov looks to Texier. Texier. In zone. Knocked it down. Here goes Demidov. Now no longer loose puck of the chain. And rebound by Nuga. Holmberg got it back. And this will be another penalty. That's going to be Alexander Nuga. Yeah, you can't do that. This is going to definitely have a lot of difficult time for Montreal Canadiens. Now watch this push here. You see what happens with that? Alex Newhook, you cannot play it like that. That's definitely going to cause him for Montreal Canadiens, and this is definitely going to turn it out worse. Power play ready to go for Tampa Bay. They're 0-1 now. Let's see how they respond. Yeah, I want to see what they respond. If the Tampa Bay gets it on, that's definitely going to be crucial on the attack. No doubt it. There's his own. Now finds Anderson. Anderson fires it! Another pass. Anderson. Shoots it deep. But a really short it. Cole Anderson's got it back. Saved by Vasilevsky. Oh my goodness.
35 seconds.
A short-handed chance for Montreal has been cut short by Vasilevsky. Watch what Dobes really does this. This is really what turned out to be a great save of it, and a lot of it compactable on this one. Really stuck it all. This is a big gloving save, and Dobes has got everything. Underneath, there is no change off. You cannot get away with Dobes on the shot. That's a big save of it, and he has 33. That's a big go-ahead goal. Montreal still short-handed chance. Might go with the first goal in the game with only 15:03 to go. Here's a fire shot saved by Vasilevsky. Under 15 minutes in the third period, 134 for the Bolts on the power play. And we've got one last game here for tonight. The Stars are facing against the Wilds at Minnesota. And then for tomorrow night, only brings one game between the Penguins and the Flyers at Xfinity Mobile Arena. That next game is going to be all for a chance to see how they do. If they answer, they definitely tie it. If they don't, they will end it here. This is a lot of big connections here from the goal, and they've really started to do all of everything. Now they're ready for another puck drop. Here's another chance over between the Lightning and the Montreal Canadiens. Hobbs wins a draw. Here's Dobson. Dobson looking at all. He's stuck up by Cirelli. And here's Cirelli. They're getting away with this. Here's Cirelli and a chance on stop by Gomez. Perry shoots it, dives it out. Anderson looks to Evans. Man, Montreal fans are watching on Jacob Dobes, and that is a great save. You got to see that to believe it. Backhander missed wide. Here's the rebound by Evans. Evans looks it over. Out of no contest zone, now finds the Yanni Gourde. 30 seconds for the Lightning power play. Broken it up the pass. And here's Anderson. Anderson looking it off. And the shot stopped by Vasilevsky. Rebounded by Yanni Gourde. Yanni Gourde looks to McDonough. McDonough finding Cirelli. Time is running out for the Lightning. Brandon Hagel back into Montreal territory. Here's McDonough. He fires it. No tip rebound in for the Lightning. Oh, shoot save by Dobes.
And power play is over for the Lightning. 0-2 for both teams. Well, what a save happens to be Jacob Dobes. That's really what they're going to get. A lot of power and racing is not going to be the better option for tonight. This one banks it off the wall. Rebound by Hudson. 13 minutes remain in the third period. Here's Sikorsky now finds the big Suzuki. He shoots it deep and can't get away with that as Vasilevsky makes a huge save. 12:45 to go in the third period, as there's still a lot of big motions coming afterwards in every period. Check out that last save here from Jacob Dobes. That's one of the hugest on the save to try to get that one over. And Cirelli tried to do it. The blocker of the save really kicked him out. That is a quick timing. That's a good effort by Jacob Dobes and the reaction. This is the threat where they're really starting to do that often. I really love how Jacob Dobes is really giving some hugest blocker attempts, and this one is to put revenge back out in success. Alex Newbrook wins the draw. Who shoots glove save by Vasilevsky. Victor Hedman again to Gensel. Jake Gensel streaking up the attackers. Back to Gooley. Gooley looks at Texier. Hobbs back into Montreal to the cafeteria. And can't get away with this one as the easy save makes for Vasilevsky. 12:06 remaining in the third period. They're starting to look for that goal in play. I know they do. Montreal needs, they're dying to want to do this. I mean, they got to start getting it into it. The win by the Lightning. Here's Hedman now finds to Gensel. Jake Gensel on a rush. Finds it off. Pass broken by Gooley. Sends it out of here. Victor Hedman will get a clear load. And now Braden Point will get a fast on wheels. Braden Point in pass in front. Back to Sharkovsky and a pass saved by Dobes. Kucherov backing it out. Hedman lost it again by Caulfield. That's a big smackdown by Braden Point. And another big one here. Man, it cannot get away with that defenders. They're really starting to get all over it. Here's Gooley to pass to Newhook. Newhook broken off by Point. Good stick lift here and they battle along the boards. Tampa Bay back in offense. Eric Sunax has now with Kucherov again to Point. Point broken by Caulfield. Here's another change over to Phil Deneau. Phil Deneau has blocked the shot off. And Jake Gensel will give it over to Braden Point. Here's Braden Point now finding to Brandon Hagel. Brandon Hagel again to Perry. Perry shoots. Deflected. Stopped by Dobes. Looks over to Brandon Hagel. 9:40 to go in the third period. Clears his zone out. Phil Deneau's going to get it. And stuck in the corner of the wall. Here's Thompson on a shot. Cannot get away with that. Wolf freeze to play here with only 9:19 remaining. Still have a lot of time left to be played in this period with only 9:19 remaining in the third period. Montreal wins another one. Robert Jackai shoots one. A save by Vasilevsky. Rebound by Struble. Struble shoots. Blocked up in front. And the big great attacker now back again to great Perry. You'll get a start off. Good save by Dobes. 8:50 remaining in the third period. And they're trying to get that one shot right away. They're still doing a lot of timing on this attack. I mean, I know it's not always that difficult, but the decision is that Montreal Canadiens are really trying to do all they've got. I mean, there's no answer to blank about, but you gotta stay focused in the game. No matter where it gets to, you gotta make sure you're really up to something. And a rebound by Bolduc. He will continue it up. Olivier Kapanen. Right turn is rebound cannot get it through by Bolduc. And a stop by Vasilevsky. Blocker high up in the zone. Stop by Vasilevsky. Corey Perry with the rebound with 8 minutes remaining in the third period. Off the glass. Around the net. Chaka. Again to Cole Caulfield. Cole Caulfield right in the Lightning territory. And it's Radish. He get that rebound right away. Now back over to J.J. Moser. Here's Nikita Kucherov. Stops it up by Jake Struble. Struble will set it over to Cole Caulfield. Kapanen. Right to the zone. A shot. Big save by Vasilevsky. This one stays it clean with only 7:10 remaining in the third period. Josakowski trying to look for his first playoff goal. And they're still trying to get that answers in for Montreal. They trail by 2. No scores in the game. They win it. Dobson shoots, fires, and floating strong glove saved by Vasilevsky. 7:01 remaining in the third period. Montreal need to get right into something.
Vasilevsky. A lot of big showstoppers here, but this is the unstoppable force that they're really trying to give it all they've got. This is for Vasilevsky. That's a huge save. The win by the Canadiens. Here's a shot for the tip in. Stop made by Vasilevsky. No contest zone. Now back over to Darren Radius. Outside again. Hagel swings it around. Try to have that shot opportunity here. Jared Sikorsky gives over to Caulfield. Here's Cole Caulfield. Waits to get in. Now finding Sikorsky. Sikorsky chances into the zone. And a save by Vasilevsky. And a rebound by Cole Caulfield for the Canadiens. He shoots one. Tries to get deflection. Nikita Kucherov waits to get out. Passes over again to Jake Gitzel. Smack down. That goes right to Matheson. A tremendous hit. You cannot believe that. Michael Matheson is doing this all over again. He will never make a mistake if this happens. Here's Jake Gitzel for the Lightning. They're trying to get that one up by 3. Takes a knockdown by the number 2 Lenses. Quick release. And down to the final 5 minutes presented by Discover. Gitzel in front of it and a stop by Dobes. Noah Dobson. A fling over to Dunault. Dunault tried to get that shot opportunity, but he couldn't as he tries to get that one bailed out. Quick pick to Dobson. That shot's blocked by Nikita Kucherov. Here's Goalie. Goalie shoots. No deflection from Cole Caulfield. Back to Jake Gitzel. Here's no look at the save by Vasilevsky. Here's Thompson. He shoots and fires it. That one does get off the touring on the traffic sign. Back over again to Nikita Kucherov for the Lightning. Noah Dobson tries to give to Cole Caulfield. Cole Caulfield with some race on attack. Evans shoots, save. Can't get a rebound in. Stopped by Vasilevsky. Eric Surdax outside his zone. 3:10 to go in the third period. Nikita Kucherov swings it. A save by Dobes. Now goalie again to Alex Nugent. Alex Nugent now finds it over to Jack Evans. Jake Evans the bulldog. And the rebound will have it picked up by Nugent. Shoots one deep for Dobson. Nikita Kucherov with the block shot. And over the other way. They really did not have anybody option. They don't have any open length. They just could try to get the goal. But as for Dobes, they want to see what Montreal has to have that one setting into Game 3. You know, Andrei Vasilevsky is really like a powerful hitter. That is a great quick release and showing him some showstoppers. He's really all into turning. This is really what they were expecting, that the blockers really made that quick save. He really done it all. And now I will go center over to center ice to see who are the best player of the game. Well, I might say now it's Nikita Kucherov. He really would have the right choice of an option. But one my take is the quick release happens to be Taylor Darren Radius. He really has done it all to get that finishing step skier. He's really doing all of it. No better chance, no better words. He really could definitely have it all, keeping it out. That's for the Lightning as they change it all for Darren Radius on his blank card. We're sure enough to see if the next playoff is for him tonight. Back to you guys. Texier moving in front, and he scores! There's the answer, Alex Texier. They're on the board, 2-1. Well, I don't believe Alexander Texier has been doing this for. Now watch this breakaway chase. He rushes over right to it, and Alexander Texier to get to Vasilevsky. Now watch where this puck plays in. This is where the flame goes right by, and watch what happened with this. This one gets a miss, and that one just skips it, and it goes right into the net. Montreal has found that answer. That is quickly up to the dock, and nothing you can tell about that. That goes right into the net. Alexander Texier. Montreal on board. They're looking to tie that game and see if they can answer it. Now here's the Lightning to get back to Gorgensen. We're down to a final minute of the third period. They're bringing Dobes out. Caulfield trying to get that over back again to Suzuki. In front of his zone, stopped by Vasilevsky. Under a minute to go in the third period. Montreal looking to tie that up. And it's 34-28 faceoff wins. Montreal Canadiens must tie this to go to overtime. And they had that win. Took a smackdown. Here they come. Extra attackers on. Glove save by Vasilevsky. 43 seconds to the third period. Montreal seemingly wants to tie this up. No better job can do if they could try to keep that out. The win. Here's a shot. Radius takes over. He's got to look for room to help. And finding Gord took a smackdown. 30 seconds for the Canadiens. Wants it up. Here's a shot. Save by Vasilevsky. Kirby Dutch in the wall. Goes back to Jorgensen. 23 seconds remaining in the third period. Moser's going to get an empty net. Misses wide. Last push for the Montreal Canadiens. They've got to try to make a shot in there to get it going. Davidoff goes down. He's right toward the wall. Trying to look for some answers in here. And the blank shot stopped by Vasilevsky. Last chance. In zone. And will he have it? That blocks it up. And it comes to a shock and awe as Montreal ends their season. Andrei Vasilevsky has finished. And they're going back to the second round. Well, only thing you cannot tell about Andrei Vasilevsky, that is a big of a save. And what happens with this? This really is cooking it all from everywhere. That blanks out with the shot, only with the first goal. And what a big save for Andrei Vasilevsky. And the Lightning are going to the next round to face against the winning team between Boston or Buffalo. Well, what a wildest game. They could have tied it, but it was suddenly not enough to win the game for Montreal. Therefore, they wrap things up. 2-1's your final score as Tampa Bay wins the series in round 1. Well, along my broadcasting partner, along with Terry Crews, my special guest with Poppy and Son of Beast, I'm Boomer. Thank you for joining us for our NHL's playoffs of the Stanley Cup. We'll see you next time. Good night in Montreal. All right, thank you guys. Time for 3 stars. Alexander Texier, you see this breakaway chance and right in toward the net. That one skips it and it goes right past by and right in toward the net. Then the second star player of the game goes to Jacob Dobes with 43 saves in a row. This only makes the turning point a stampede. That one was a big, huge save on the other end. And tonight's first star player of the game goes to Andrei Vasilevsky. 76 saves. He has done all of his impression to keep things from going out of bail. Showstopper is the name. And here are the final statistics for tonight's game. 77 over 45 shots on goal for Montreal over Tampa Bay. 44 over 41 hits for Tampa Bay Lightning. 623 over 547 for Montreal Canadiens. 89 over 83 passing effectiveness for Montreal. And it's only 35 over 29 Tampa Bay on a face-off win. 4-minute penalty kills both teams and no power play goals were made with only 4 minutes on the power play. So therefore, Montreal Canadiens has not succeeded in the first round. They lost 2 consecutive postseasons after losing against the Capitals and losing against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Well, I won't say this. This season 1 has definitely no regrets, but part of this postseason, they definitely succeeded. The Bolts are going to the next round, and we'll see them playing against the next team between Boston or Buffalo. Well, folks, we're wrapping things up here for tonight's game of the Tampa Bay and Montreal. We'll see you folks all later for the final game of Dallas and Minnesota. That game is going to be underway next after this. And if you're not tuning us in, thanks for watching. See you next time for as well as the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs on EA Sports Style. Zoe Troop and me Phone 11 are gone. Be back with you soon. And thanks for watching, or those of you who are not. So long.
If you don't, somebody will.